website, beexposedradio.com.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Our topic tonight is Spirit of Thanksgiving. And I have in the studio with me my husband, Titus James. Woo!
Titus! Hello. Titus James. Titus!
We up here.
This man.
We like off the chain because we not, it's right before. Like I say, it's right before a holiday. Nobody, when you at work,
stressing.
Everybody's thinking about that plate they're gonna get and their take-home plate.
Right now, people are mapping out the logistics of like the houses that you go to, because there are some houses that you go to for breakfast in the morning.
Right.
That's just me.
Right.
And then there are houses that you go to early, like.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Artist Exchange radio show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We're live in the building. It's me, your host, Nate. Mr. Hollywood won't be here today. He has a family emergency, so we'll be just saying some prayers for him and his family, his children. So definitely send your condolences, your kind words to the page. Let them know that you're thinking about him. But joining me today is one of our new co-hosts. Yes. Damonn isn't going anywhere, but we just have an addition. Miss Sweet Baby.
Hello.
Zakiya, Ayanna. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I did. I was practicing. Miss Zakiya, Ayanna, a.k.a. Sweet Baby of... Now, I was about to say the Sticky Bun Festival, but it's art...
Appreciate the arts.
Now, I did practice that, but it just didn't come out right. Appreciate the art. Their Sticky Bun Festival is actually the same day as our 3-year anniversary, yes. September the 9th, from 4 until 8.
At the Why Not Lot.
Why Not Lot, Charles and North Avenue. So definitely come on out to that. But first of all, I have to say shout out to Miss Erica of the Ceasefire Baltimore. Her initiative to at least pause the city for the next 72 hours has been a great outlook already. The first 24 hours and counting has already come and gone, and there were no murders in Baltimore City in the last 24 hours and counting. So we're trying to continue that mission up until Monday and beyond that. I don't want people to just be like, back to normal on Monday. But this shows you the power of one. And then you add one, and you add one, and you add one. And the message just went like wildflower throughout social media, as well as all the radio platforms in the city has shown some type of support in their initiative. Erica be here on, is that next weekend, Kara? Next Saturday, Erica and Bashi. That's next Saturday, right? I think she'll the following week. So they'll be here. I believe that's the 21st. I know I'm just throwing out stuff to you, but they'll be here in 2 weeks. I'll say that they'll be here in 2 weeks. Miss Erica and Bashi Rose, and Erica let us know the post project for Ceasefire Baltimore. So Monday, Ceasefire 360 starts. So the whole year. So that's the second leg of the project. So now let's do this for 72 hours, and then let's see what we can do on a day-to-day basis.
It's an incredible initiative. I've been seeing her actually at several different events, just promoting it. And I pray that as Baltimoreans, like, I've been seeing some naysayers, why would you? And then I'm like, why talk down on
Did it
something
work?
that's so positive?
Right.
Even if it doesn't work, which I'm praying that people can, like, just sit there.
Well, the first 24 hours already?
Right. But people are like, why are we talking about let's not kill? What is it going to do for a weekend? You have to start somewhere.
Right.
You have to start somewhere. So
and those naysayers are the problem.
Right.
we can point the finger to the people on the other end of the guns, but those naysayers are the problem. When anytime words, and I learned this from an awesome friend of mine, Miss Dr. Latonya Valencia Mars. Words have innate qualities. They have to seek out the mission of the tongue. They have to. So once you speak it, I then need to. Those words have to find wherever that tongue was directing them to.
Right.
And that's why you'll be having a really good day, and then all of a sudden something happens.
It's energy.
Right. And you like, where did that come from? Somebody putting their mouth on you. And you never know where it's coming from. That's why we got to stay prayed up. We got to stay, in our, not so much our box, but you got to stay on your square.
And stay positive.
Yeah, like, it costs nothing to just be optimistic. Sometimes it's a little tough. It gets a little rough because of all the given circumstances that you already had. But just choose to be positive. It'll work itself. I'm telling you, it'll work itself out. No stress, no confusion, none of that, and we'll be good. So, are you ready to do some of the stories, or you want to just? We can. We're doing it in the next segment.
I had my notebook with me, so I'm good.
So you want to do your first story? So we're trying to do format here. We're getting Miss Sweet Baby acclimated because we about to work.
Yes,
the Artist Exchange about to pop off. So the next month is very interesting. We have some really phenomenal guests down the Pikeway. Today is Artist Compound Takeover. So every first Saturday of the month, the Artist Compound comes by. Miss Chhyna May, Miss Chastity Schlomer comes on by. No, I just murdered that, but I was confident and I just did it. They come by with a few of their artists. We have 2 artists coming in. We'll be meeting them in the third segment, so definitely stay tuned, stay locked in for that. If you want to call in, 410-702-5657, or if you're a little shy, Sweet Baby too much for you, you can 443-642-9403. But you don't know, I'm Peaches on Saturdays. It used to be the weekends, but that's a lot of energy. So it just went down to Saturdays. I haven't been Peaches in a long time, though. I really haven't. And speaking of Peaches, shout out to Million Me's production. I tried my hand at doing a web series. It wasn't my web series. It was hers. And the young ladies from Million Me's production. She had me do this. It was called this exercise regimen. That was one of the episodes. So the exercise, the lose weight system was valet parking. So you had to just run after cars. And she had me on some track over in East Baltimore, running around the track, and it came out. It was really funny. Like, I love when they cut and slice things because it makes things so much funnier. But I was sweating, like the sweat was real. I was really tired, and there's an opening, like the opening like clip is me falling. That was real. That was really real. That was after trying take 20. So definitely shout out to them. If you go to our page, you'll be able to see the entire clip, or my personal page or the Artist Exchange page. And speaking of slicing things together, I spoke on, what's her name? What's the new comedian in the city name? Jess Hilarious. Oh, Jess Hilarious. I've been speaking on her, speaking about negativity. I saw a number of her clips, and it feels like her material, and I have yet to see her perform live, so maybe her material was different. But all her video clips had something to do with something she hated about Baltimore. Now, I understand a lot of comedians find their way that way, and she's still young, and she's still new in the game, so this is her way of kind of making her footprint. But for me, there's a problem. The narrative of Baltimore is already negative, and you're adding to the negative. And I'm not saying some of the stuff she's not saying is true, because she speaks a lot about black business owners. Like the one that I just commented on was her hatred for Baltimore DJs. Like, she hates going to, out in the club and they playing up-to-date music. They not playing her time music, which is probably 3 years later,
right.
Than that. But it's just the way you do it. like you always have something negative to say about black business specifically.
Right.
You know, and use your platform to spotlight those ones that's doing good, opposed to you are spotlighting those that are and giving free advertisement to those who aren't doing good. So that's gonna make people go to their shop and see for themselves. But give more attention to the things that's happening positive in your in your city. And the sad part is, she still live here. You still making your money from here. The likes and all that you got were from here. You know, and I'm not going down her career because I wanted to do great and make Baltimore, put Baltimore on the map anymore. But you don't get to live here and run your mouth that way. I don't care what type of jokes. I'm ready. I'm a trained actor, improv, so I got the jokes.
Right.
So I'm not even. Wouldn't even want it to get to that point. But I'll keep hashtagging her and keep connecting her to the things that I have to say, because it's not funny to me. Like, that's not funny, putting down your city.
Right. I agree. I love Baltimore, for the record. I love it here.
Yeah, like how you pay your bills somewhere and you hate it. I hate it here. So you mad every morning. Like, that's how you start your day. So, Miss Sweet Baby, she got a story for us.
I do. The Obamas, somebody invited the Obamas to their wedding, and while they didn't show up, but they did send a letter in response to the young lady who invited them, and they just basically wished her well. The response was, "Congratulations on your wedding. We hope that your marriage is blessed with love, laughter, and happiness, and that your bond grows stronger with each passing year. This occasion marks the beginning of a lifelong partnership, and as you embark on this journey, know you have our very best for the many joys and adventures that lie ahead," which was really cool. And it turns out that a lot of people have been sending them various announcements and occasions like births and graduations and so forth, and the Obamas will respond in turn with a letter.
Well, we're going to have to write them a response. Let's write them a response.
And get you a little message.
I'm going to be done. My life going to be... I'm not going to need this anymore at that point.
So I thought that was a pretty cool story.
I'm sorry. My phone's retarded. We got to write them a letter.
I agree. I was thinking it. I'm thinking of
like, come on. Come on, y'all. Come on the show.
So, yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool story. That was out there, and to know that that's something that they do, and it's all on a little official memo, and it's just a nice little thing to have.
People would say that that's fake, that they're not who they appear to be, but like, you just don't get people like that. That they just seem like true Americans. They seem like real, genuine, down-to-earth people. Like, he's fighting for the gerrymandering that's starting to happen with the Republicans trying to, redistrict the United States so they win the next election. So he's still working. Like, this man could just straight vacation.
I love that word. I haven't used that word since I was in college.
Well, that's his initiative. Like, that's what he's like going after right now. And Michelle is still doing health, body, kids, fitness. She just appeared on the SB Awards, looking phenomenal, of course. But they do no wrong. Like, somebody gotta be doing something wrong. Like, he picks his nose or something. Like, she has a flatulence problem. Like, something has to be like askew, and I'm not looking for it, but they're just too perfect.
Have you watched I think it's called Southside with You, the movie that's about them getting together?
Oh wow, I just watched that on Netflix.
Okay, how was it? I haven't watched it. I've been meaning to.
It wasn't like, I love the young lady that played Michelle, the gentleman that played Barack, President Barack, really it was good. He looked more. So I normally worry when the person looks and sounds just like the person, because then could they really act?
Right.
Like, but you could tell like he probably was an impersonator at some point. But the acting was pretty good. It was nice. It was nice. I liked it. It was a nice love story. I need him to not drive around with that hole in his car though. Like he was in it, but from the movie, it showed all the work that he does, and it looks like he's about to go back to what he was before he was like a senator and all that. So
okay, yeah, I'm gonna
he
check
do
that
good.
out.
He do good. How was your week so far?
My week
Quiet week.
After, my son William was in Maya Baraka Institute.
The hypest young man. He get the hype award for the Maya Barak camp.
And so, I didn't have to worry about getting him up all week long. This was my first week where I didn't have to worry about getting him together in the morning. And
yes, when I tell you, it took me to Wednesday to catch up on my sleep. I'm still tired.
This whole past week has just been like me falling back and just getting myself together in preparation for the school year, because I'm about to have to do it all over again.
Yeah. Does he live near school?
Not really. It's when he can catch the bus there, but I usually just drop him off because it's on my way.
Spoiled, rotten children.
He's spoiled.
My mother used to drop me off the first day and be like, so.
Good
And she used to make me find the bus system myself. If I didn't get up like a week before and try to get there, she'd be like.
See, I'm all paranoid. I'm like, oh, you want me to take you? Like,
yeah, I used to get my stepfather like, you going my way. I actually grew up around Carmelo Anthony's mom, and she used to work at UB, and she used to like feel sorry for me.
Oh.
Because I went to a private school, so I had to be there so early. Like, I would be on the bus stop when everybody was thinking about like rolling over.
Yeah.
So she used to get up early, and she used to take me to school. Shout out to Miss Mary, Miss Mary Anthony. She used to feel sorry for me because I'd be on the bus stop. I don't feel like going to this school. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Listen to Elizabeth Warren talking about Black lives and Black life.
Police are not occupying armies. This is America, not a war zone. I speak today with full knowledge that I have not personally experienced and can never truly understand the fear, the oppression, and the pain that confronts African Americans every day.
Don't you just want to kill yourself? I mean, not from what she was saying, but from the music that was playing in the background. I just want to, oh gosh, but every word she said was prolific, and it did not come from what is now becoming mainstream as white privilege. She has a sensibility about her, and the way she speaks about different things that has, from the first time I saw her, I can't remember what state she's in. I think she's in like North Carolina or something like that, somewhere I'm not going. That some kind of sensibility about her that makes me like her for president. But she's not running. We have this old guy that looks like he should be on the popcorn box. Then we have Martin O'Malley. Fine. We'll settle if we must. Hillary, who I like, but she just has to fight against all this controversy, and that's the hard part of it all. Then we have Huckabee. I could have swore he died, like in one of those books, like a fairy tale book. Trump, we'll get to you in a moment. Meet with all these black folk in one room, and they just fell for it. Like, he must have been giving out $100 bills behind it.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on Be Exposed Radio. BeExposedRadio.com. Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
It doesn't say alleged anywhere in here.
This is the wrong song to play underneath this topic.
They're saying 4 years ago, according to a $20 million lawsuit, the plaintiff, who was also not named, met Charlie Sheen in Las Vegas on April the 1st, 2011. The sleaze suit claimed that Sheen entered into a nefarious plot designed to lure plaintiffs into a luxurious hotel room to serve his prurient desires. Sensationally, it was alleged that Sheen...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
For the young people, but that's youth work, so welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. Joining us today is our new co-host, addition to the team, Miss Sweet Baby, Zakiya, Ayanna. So when we left off, well, not left off, during a break, I started talking about the Maya Baraka camp. What did you think overall? Be honest, don't be a mom.
Those
be an artist.
Did a phenomenal job. The topics, the production of it, just everything. Like, even at one point, I found myself in tears at one point at one of the little girls' poems. Like, it was so touching. It was so deep, and it was fulfilling to see that these kids are up there, like, this the next generation, and they already at a place where, you know, a lot of adults ain't even reached yet.
And not even just on the content, on the talent side, but just the ability to share.
To get up there and do that. Like, it took me a year to get to that point. And I even go back to Willie, and I'm like, give me suggestions. How do you do? Because, like you say, he the turn-up king. And I'm like,
we had to stop him from jumping off the stage. We like, because if you break something, we're responsible.
I'm like, I can't with him most of the time.
He jumps off the stage. Like, who does that? No, sir, we can't do that. Sorry.
So a lot of time I go to him and I'm asking him, like, even as far as doing radio shows, like when I was on a show before and I was talking to him about being nervous about it, and he like, well, and I was talking to him like, well, you know, do I put on my representative voice to say? Well, he like, no, ma, if it's something that you got a front for, don't do it, because it's not for you. So that's stuff that these kids nowadays, and that's, you know, being around kids that's of the same mind frame. It helps, and to see what they came up with, it was incredible. I was treated,
and a lot of that was we gave them some writing prompts, of course, and some techniques on like performance and all that, but the bulk of that, the majority, 75% of that was them being not afraid to not share, or not being afraid to share and to expose themselves. And it was quite a few things that we didn't put on the stage that was like, that got left in the classrooms, but a lot of it was them telling their perspective, and a lot
they were bare, like,
and a lot of them
open.
It took some coaching to get some of them, and we like I was saying at the break, we had a lot of young people that chose not to return for whatever reason, but my explanation for that was a lot of them had stories that were current. You know, and it's hard, and I keep talking about this, and I gotta find this man who did the trauma workshop for youth works, for the instructors, our training for youth workers this year. They had a trauma workshop, and he put something in my mind that kind of depicts how we treat people in general. We treat the problem, not we treat the symptoms and the problem. We don't ever treat what is actually wrong with the person.
Right.
What led up to that behavioral problem, what got us to that point. That then becomes the sketchy area. That then becomes the part that never gets treated. And for me, I see a lot of programs for women and young girls that prevent them from getting to that point. But for young men, by the time they get that attention, they're already in whatever given circumstances that was leading them up to that behavior, or they're too far gone. And it's not too late, but sometimes if you already in jail, like, your image has already been tarnished. Your record has already been set. In most cases, your journey has already been determined. So, just making it more balanced and realizing these young people have trauma. And not, like, I had one young lady, and they were teasing her in class because her story was about having sickle cell and the coach pushing her to a point. And for her, that was a lot, but we're not supposed to gauge trauma. So part of the training was we're not allowed to say, well, you know what, the same thing happened to me and I was able to get through it. You don't do that because you don't know what her given circumstances are built up to be versus what mine were and what resources I had to get me out of that. And most of us still living in some of them given circumstances. So in that trauma training, we were taught not to try to compare stories or to downplay what is wrong with somebody. Not to, use it as a crutch, definitely not, but never to compare stories. Like, I went through that, I'm good, because you're now denying what that person is feeling in that moment. And a lot of our elders do that when it took you 50 years to learn that Bible. You want me to get it in 16, 10 even, 5 even. Like, you took time, it took you time. You're who you are based on your experiences. Let these people experience. And a lot of them have gone through experiences. A lot of them have gone through trauma and very adult-like situations. But we have to remember they're not adults yet. They don't have the vocabulary or the experience to be able to get up from something. So they internalize, especially our young men, they internalize everything and it explodes in ways where they're hyper-aggressive, hyper-masculine, they're fast, if you would call it, and they don't have the vocabulary to be able to express that often. So it was very surprising to me and very refreshing to me that these young people, the young lady who had the anxiety poem,
that's the one that made me cry.
But that was real. A lot of people thought she was in my class, but she took herself there every time.
I went to her afterwards. I'm like, can I give you a hug? Because that right there, like, it peeled me apart. Everything that she said in there was, I related to 100%. And I'm a grown adult woman with a child in this course that she took.
And we've learned how to kind of like hide from that. But she was kind of on the outside in out there. Like, her body was flipped inside out. And she was able to show us what happens when you're in those situations. And I remember trembling, like, throughout school whenever I had to get up. And I would be prepared. And even as an actor, I used to get horrible stage fright. But something would push me. And I'm glad a lot of them still push themselves and pushed each other to do their best, because it turned into a competition.
Even through their mistakes and through, the lines they forgot, they all were supportive of each other. It was a beautiful thing to see. Like, they clapped for each other, and even though they were being silly, it was still support for each other, and I loved it. I loved being there. I loved being a part of it. I loved that my son was a part of it. Like, it was incredible. Y'all, that
was my first year, and it really was. It showed me so much of what I could do as a instructor, as a teaching artist, and how far I could go as an artist in general. Because some of them, first day they were that honest. We had orientation first day, and the second day was class, and a lot of them stories, especially from my class, came out the first day. And it was like, okay, I'm not prepared for this. So I had to get myself every day mentally prepared to go in there, and then the come down period, and then get back up the next day and do it again. So mentally, I was drained only because I wanted to give them energy that put forth a platform where they felt comfortable telling their story. So we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to have the Artist Compound come join us. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Lately it's back on May 17th at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com. Oh, okay, yeah. Also on YouTube. I know the rate is killing me. Why would you see me recording? Oh my You a hard-headed hoe. Yo.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to get yourself noticed? Well then, why not sponsor us? There are lots of different options to choose from commercial spots and on-air shoutouts to interviews and even putting your logo on our website. Don't miss these great opportunities to get noticed. Check out our sponsorship packages on our Facebook page or on our website, BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
This is the reality
Yes.
of the world that we're living in. A lot of young people don't have the information that is necessary to have healthy lives. And a lot of the organizations that are geared towards young people don't have individuals that are going to be as honest as this gentleman.
Well, one of the issues that I have with this quote-unquote Christian nation that we live in is
it's
that
not just the Christians,
being religion allows you to live in denial, but the world does not live in denial. So who are you helping with your? All right, I'm gonna stop. I'm about to do something.
The reason I shrink that or take that away because it's people who are not religious. It's people who they're not giving their young people, or they don't have a person that could be that honest with them. I mean, we all have that. I know I had a mother like that.
There are.
Rather than
and it's just and it's been recently because I've recently had more interaction with teen mothers than I have in my whole life. I wasn't my mother wasn't a teen mother. Her mother was. She made sure none of her daughters were. So it was, in as I get older and working in certain areas, you tend to run into that. And one of the things that blows my mind is how often a teen mom does not talk to their child at all, period, much less their daughter that they had at 15 to say, these are the realities of sex. These are the realities of the choices that you can or cannot make. These are the reality. Like, how do you not, after going through it yourself, knowing the stress, the looks, how do you then turn and look at someone else and say, all right, good luck? I mean, this is your offspring. I'm sorry. I just get very emotional about that. It bothers me that there are a great deal of people.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. It's me, your host, Nate. We got our new co-host, Miss Sweet Baby.
Hello.
She's joining us. This is not your first time here.
It's not. As
a co-host
officially.
So she'll be joining us for Saturday shows this month and then full-time come September. So definitely look forward for that. We'll be posting some blogs and such like that on Miss Sweet Baby. But today, like the last couple months, have been the Artist Compound takeover. So the Artist Compound, we got Miss Chhyna May.
Hello.
One half of the brains of Artist Compound. Let us know, first of all, before we introduce the guests, what is the Artist Compound?
The Artist Compound. The Artist Compound is a local booking agency. We basically connect talent with the public, and we also help with artist development and help people master their craft and sell their work.
That's what's up. So what are the criteria for becoming an Artist Compound member?
Well, one, be an artist.
Okay. That's kind of beneficial.
Yeah. You can apply on our website at www.artistcompound.com. And just having the right mindset of going in and developing yourself and becoming more and more professional and mastering your craft.
And actually, you give opportunities for artists to promote themselves.
And even take over their own events. Like Nick here, he has his own events with us, and we let you grow with us, basically.
Okay. So you're not just management, but PR, marketing, that whole event planning, that whole gambit. I went to go see it, me and Hollywood, doing Artscape, and you had the Why Not jumping. Of course, you had your mini market as well as your various artists performing. So only one I did not get to see is, I don't want to mess up his name, the Polynesian dancers.
Oh, they were awesome.
And I didn't see it on live or anything, but I had to get back and do another performance. So, sorry. I'm going to see you next time.
We have the short video out, but the extended video is going to be out tomorrow. So.
Is it on the website?
Yeah.
So what's the website again?
www.artistcompound.com.
There you go. That's Miss Chhyna May. She's a visual artist herself. Do you do that? So you just do paintings, right?
I do paintings, graphic design. Okay. I do marketing packages and like everything in between. So.
There you go. One-stop center. But our guests for today are Mr. Nick Frampton.
Yes, sir.
I was practicing that. And Douglas Heifetz.
Heifetz.
There you go. Heifetz.
Most people call me Doug.
There we go. So Doug, introduce yourself to our Artist Exchange audience.
I am Doug Heifetz. Really happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Nate, and company. I work through Lost and Forge. That's my little metalwork operation. Our goal and our method is to reclaim the materials of the past with creativity and luster. So making all kinds of jewelry, metalwork jewelry and accessories from reclaimed vintage materials.
Like I was noticing the fork on your wrist. If you show it to the camera right there.
Yes.
I love
that's
that.
actually, I guess, 3 forks.
Oh wow, I didn't see that one.
Pieces of 3 forks. So this is a watch band made out of dinner forks with a vintage Soviet mechanical timepiece.
So you made the fork part of it?
Yeah, the band, exactly.
The band?
I did
Wow.
not make the timepiece. And then that's just a fork bracelet, heart patterns, and then a ring. Some of my most popular things are rings like this. This one made from a whole silver demi-tasse spoon.
That's cool. I love metalwork.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of patience.
It does, but it's tons of fun. And you know, my hands are not delicate enough for some things, but for bending metal, I find that it was a match in a way that I didn't expect. And I love to, reuse is sort of a baseline, and there's some sort of environmental themes, but I want to make it. I like having an element of surprise where people see one of my pieces and it looks like a beautiful piece of statement jewelry. But then when they look closer, there's this element of surprise. Oh my gosh, that was a fork. Or that was a spoon. Or that was a piece of cabinet hardware. And there's this element of surprise, and so it can sort of pass in the conventional world, but there's something deeply unconventional about the process and the materials. And
that looks especially the watch, that looks very delicate to me. So I think you found your own delicate technique.
Thank you.
But how long have you been doing repurposing and refurbishing and jewelry design?
I've always loved looking through old stuff and thinking about ways to use it. But I've been working with metal and really craft in general just exactly 2 years.
Okay.
What made you look at a fork and say, I can make this a watch, or I can make this a bracelet, or I can make this spoon into a ring? Like, what about
one day?
What about these items made you see jewelry?
Everybody doesn't look at their silverware and think about that. What they're going to bend it into.
It takes the artist to be able to
In this case, it also created an artist,
right?
Because I didn't think of myself as an artist before this. But I guess there's a few stages. When I was in college, once I bent a couple of bracelets. I saw somebody who had bent a bracelet into a fork, and I bent a couple. I think I stole a couple of stainless steel forks from the cafeteria, bent them into a bracelet.
It was an investment in your future.
It was, exactly. It was hopefully it would retroactively get me in trouble.
Your Sally Mae paid for that.
There's gonna be big loan penalties for this. Anyway, they weren't much to look at, but they were conversation pieces.
Right.
Then 2 years ago, I really wanted something to do with my hands. I was staying up late at night in front of the TV, and I thought, I like doing that, but I thought, why don't I do something with my hands during this time? And
it could have went in a whole other direction, but you did it creatively.
I go in all directions. But in this case, started thinking about, way back when, half a lifetime ago, I bent forks into bracelets. Maybe I'll try that again. And I just started experimenting with every possibility that I could think of, and I kept thinking of more and more things that I wanted to make, seeing what other artists were doing, eventually taking a metalwork jewelry class. And when I think about my kinds of materials I use, the possibilities are endless. When I think about regular what most jewelers start with sheet metal and wire, and my mind kind of goes blank. Or I can think of things, but they're not exciting to me. Whereas when I think about the kinds of material, the kinds of repurposing and reclaimed materials that I use, my mind goes wild, and the possibilities are just endless.
So what were you doing prior to being a jewelry designer?
I'm a rabbi, and until
it's always something far left of being an artist.
So I've been until last week. I was the rabbi of a synagogue in Laurel, Maryland, for 11 years, full time.
Ooh.
So I've just a year ago, I told them I was going to leave that, and it's a process of the community getting ready to move on, me getting ready to move on, and here I am.
Wow. So how do you make a transition? Like, at what point did you decide, like, okay, I'm gonna go this route opposed to, because that's your faith versus what your creativity is. Which is
I mean, they're both deeply, you know, all this is deeply connected. But in terms of my time, there was tension that I had to resolve, or I had to make a move. Right. Eventually, it just felt this wellspring of creativity and art and entrepreneurship, which I did not want to neglect, which I didn't want to kind of suppress. I wanted to nurture it and help it to grow, and loved the congregation I was with. I've loved, I am a rabbi. I love being a rabbi, but decided that there were other things I want to do than that line of work, and it was a really difficult decision then, and it still feels kind of hard, but it also feels like the right thing to do.
So we're gonna get into the business part of it a little bit later, but I'm gonna go over to Mr. Nick Frampton.
Yes, sir.
There we go. See, I'll be trying. Let us know who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name is Nick Frampton. I'm an independent musician. I'm also a photographer and a videographer.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
What instruments do you play?
I don't really play any instruments. I do more vocal stuff.
Okay.
Well, I play the tambourine now. It's something I picked up.
Yeah.
That's an instrument.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do you want to learn more instruments? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play the drums when I was younger. I kind of just faded out, and I play a little acoustic guitar, but nothing.
Did they disappear like mine disappeared? I said one day my drums just disappeared from the garage.
No, just disappeared from my routine.
Yeah, my mom, she was cleaning, and then she just lost the drum set, so I don't know why.
Strange.
So how long have you been into music?
Honestly, my entire life, but I really started taking a more serious recording and writing the past couple of years, maybe 2013 or so.
So you write as well?
Yeah, I write all my own stuff. Direct all my videos, photos, everything.
So how long have you been doing the photography side of it?
A little over a year.
Is it photography or videography?
Both.
Okay.
A little over a year.
That's what's up. So what sprung that on?
Well, I was always an iPhone photographer, like all of us, you know what I mean? I always thought I had a natural eye for those sort of things, and I just wanted to pick up the hobby and take it to the next level.
That's what's up.
And I also wanted to cut out the middleman between me and these other photographers and videographers, So.
But it's sometimes, especially in the beginning process, you just gravitate towards new forms of what you're already doing or things that are attached to.
Yeah.
So it's natural for you to pick up and learn things. And once you get to a level where you could just pay somebody to do it, you know now what talent to look for or what certain things to look for.
For sure.
So have you always been an artist, or were you like the president of the debate club a few seconds ago?
I mostly grew up as like a nerd playing video games, but I also was into athletics.
Okay.
But I always had a passion for art and music.
So you were busy, because those three things were time consuming.
As time went on, I think it started becoming more towards the art aspect.
Okay.
As I got older.
So is it more visual art that you were, or was it the performing arts? Which one did you start with?
I started with music, that's for sure, and I picked up the visual aspect later.
So performing artists, how difficult is that to be a performance artist?
I think it is very difficult, especially for me who suffers from like social anxiety. My stage fright is severe, and I overcame that. Actually, last December was my first time ever performing. This past December. Since then, I've performed I think 4 other times. And I overcame that, and ever since then, it's been like a breeze for me. I hardly even get nervous.
Well, you're Artist Compound member. They about to put you to work.
He's also part of our staff. He helps us with our videography and our photography as well.
Okay.
And we also help Nick put on his own events for charity, if you want to talk about that as well.
So you have a charity?
Yeah, so I don't have my own charity fund. I want to start an organization, a nonprofit organization. But what I like to do with all my events is make them concerts, but also all the money of the admission goes towards some sort of charitable organization. So far I've done like Barks, I've done Christmas Toy Drive, so that was the show in December I was talking about.
Okay.
And this upcoming next one will be supporting mental illness and suicide prevention, because September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
I want to say that. I thought it was like earlier in the year, but
yeah, I believe I'm almost certain it's September. If not, it's Mental Illness Awareness Month. One of those two. Either way, this next project I'm doing is kind of about that topic, so I think it's pretty fitting.
Now, we were talking about this at the beginning of the show. One of the young people that was in my camp, she suffered from anxiety, and she wrote a poem talking about her anxiety, and she showed, like, it was hard for her not to show it. So she would go through what it feels like to be, like, I think she was actually having an anxiety attack on stage while doing the poem, and every time she had to, like, decompress herself. How does that, what is your process for that? Because you still get nervous. Well, it doesn't like necessarily all go away.
You definitely get nervous. I mean, for me, it's a cathartic thing. Art is my release. So, honestly, I just kind of get lost in the performance, get lost in the music, because that's like one of my only ways out of it, other than athletics.
Right.
So, I just try to focus on that. Honestly, it's like you go into like a trance, really. It's like I black out. I don't even like remember performing. I just go back and watch the videos, and like I see that I did it, but it's like
that happened to me one time. We were doing like a live play down at Lexington Market, and I remember it felt like the blackness was starting to fill up in my eyes.
Yeah, like you're about to fall asleep or something.
Right, and that's what it felt like. I could see like over top. This is what it looked like. This, and I could hear. It felt like I was standing beside myself talking, and something just said, "You know the lines, just keep saying it." But I felt like at any moment I was about to pass out, and I never understood where that, and it never happened to me like that again. But that was very scary for me to be in that moment, because I knew I was nervous, but I think it was just all these people in that Lexington Market. They like, it's people up here looking down at you, and all these people that's in front of you. And I just felt that it was literally black, and I could feel it like almost covering my eyes.
Stress reaction.
Yeah, I never felt that before. That was scary. Is that something that happens to you? Like, how often does that happen?
It doesn't usually happen. Like I said, it's cathartic for me. It's a release for me. So it doesn't happen during that, but like those are the type of moments that create my art. It's like I use that as like a fuel for it. So that's kind of like the stuff I talk about now.
That's cool. So, like I said, we will get to the business aspect a little bit later, but let us know where we can find you at on social media, both of you.
Okay.
Where people can send some checks,
you want me
possibly.
To go first,
yeah.
So my social media is all NCKFRMPTN.
Okay.
Which is Nick Frampton without any vowels. Pretty much. So that's for everything.
For everything.
Yep. So Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, you name it.
Mr. Heifetz.
Yes, this is
There we go.
This is Doug again from
Phonetics
from Lost and Forged, and you can find everything at Lost and Forged. So lostandforged.com, all spelled out, or Lost and Forged spelled out on Instagram. Lost and Forged with the and sign on Facebook, but I think if you look it up as with the AND, it'll also show up. So you can find everything at Lost and Forged. Lostandforged.com, Lost and Forged on Etsy, etc.
Oh, I love Etsy. Yep. We're going to get into that. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. I was upset when they changed the format. Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or in different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything, in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on BigExposeRadio.com.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles and Mr. Miles the Writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty when he rants about his staff.
I agree. Can you come on? I told you stop touching that button. Why is it so loud? God. Did you turn one all the way up again? Do I have to come in there? God damn her. If it was going right, I would let you do your part, but I'm sorry, but it's just not functioning the way it's supposed to be.
You're live on the air.
I told you mind your business.
Well, Monty, if I can comment on the Jennifer Holiday situation, I can.
I know I'm live on the air. I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay. I know I'm live on the air. This is why this whole show is called Talk Lately. Anyway, let's get back to every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to get yourself noticed? Well then, why not sponsor us? There are lots of different options to choose from commercial spots and on-air shoutouts to interviews and even putting your logo on our website. Don't miss these great opportunities to get noticed. Check out our sponsorship packages on our Facebook page or on our website, BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. I've learned I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
That is a nice commercial.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on Be
This the
Exposed
man
Radio.
that holds it down, Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. Mm-hmm. My girl happens to be long distance. Mm-hmm. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me money. Sorry.
Because I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
And you need to know yourself before you can have somebody please. If you can't tell nobody how to please you, if you don't know how to please yourself.
That's right.
You know what you like. You know what you like. You know the stroke, all that. Mm. So you're right. And I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's your body. Yeah, I'm over here struggling with the ear.
Yeah, I'm glad it's you today. I'm glad you today, brother.
Oh, this thing going to drop. It's going to drop about at least like 5 times.
I'm over there struggling.
So ED, do you have a problem with masturbating?
No, I don't. I don't masturbate often because I have a fear of going blind. So, yes.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
iTunes, all that stuff.
That's what's up. That was Mr. Nick Frampton.
Yes, sir.
Tell us the title of that song.
That song's called Save Me Interlude, featuring my boy Chhyna.
That's what's up. How long have you been writing?
I've been writing ever since I started making music, really, because I write all my own stuff, so I guess you could say about 3 years or so, 3-4 years. Yeah.
He had a little smooth, little jazzy, little tone to himself.
I really liked it. On that. Yeah, thank you.
How long have you been singing, though?
That wasn't me singing. That was my boy Chhyna singing. I did the verse at the beginning, but I do a little harmonizing on my newer stuff, too.
Because I was about to say, okay, you got a little multi-talented.
He's really good, man. Yeah.
So, are there any, or not are there, but what artists do you, or musicians do you, like, look to or look up to?
So, like, my influences, really?
Mm-hmm,
I really don't even come from, like, a huge rap influence. I come from, like, a emo, pop, punk, rock influence, but I also come from a R&B background. Like, R&B is my favorite style of music. It's been since I was a kid. Like, my parents listening to Jagged Edge and stuff like that. And I'm really into, like,
let me find out.
I'm really 112, all that. I'm really into, like, the new age R&B now.
Boy groups.
Yeah, like The Weeknd and things.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's what I'm into.
That's kind of the style that we're going towards. So, what other do you have any local influences? Like, what other local artists or?
Yeah, big time. Like my boy Chhyna, that's on that song. We've been working together for a long time. He's actually, not just saying this because he's my friend, but he's one of my favorite artists for sure.
Right.
So yeah, I would say him.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, getting more into the business side of what you do, how prepared are either of you for the business of being an artist?
Oh, you want to take the lead on this one?
More prepared by the month, I think. Learning about it. I mean, there's a learning curve for everything we do that's worthwhile. Certainly for business and for art. And
so, getting your supply, like we were talking on a break about Etsy, it really supply and demand, like being as though you make everything by hand.
I do.
Timing wise, how do you keep your supplies up? Because I know now Chhyna about to have you vending everywhere.
Yeah. So most of what I sell mostly I do business online.
Okay.
And I mean I do business any number of ways, but most of my business is online.
Mm-hmm.
And both on my website and Etsy, most of what I do is made to order.
Okay.
Meaning I make something that I'm happy with, I post it, and then I'll keep making it as long as I can. Either sometimes most things like for example a bracelet like this or a watch band like this, I could use any kinds of dinner forks to make them.
Okay.
And so I can, if I posted it and take pictures of it, I can keep remaking it.
Mm-hmm.
No two will be exactly alike because the silverware pattern will be different. There'll be different subtle variations in how I bend the metal and how it comes out.
Okay.
And usually people like that each piece is
unique.
Each piece is kind of unique,
mm-hmm.
but it's different from when jewelers talk about one-of-a-kind pieces.
Right.
In that I'm basically repeating the same thing. Now I do one-of-a-kind, and I've done all kinds of different pieces, but most of what I sell is based on say 80 things that are on my website and my Etsy shop, and I slowly expand that.
How do you? And that's always been my issue with like duplicating my work. I want to get to that level where I can duplicate on a small scale, not really like mass produced.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you create a template, especially for something like that? How do you create that template? Because there are variations in the design, but you try to stick to that template for that specific like bracelet, of course.
Yes. So part of the reason I take good photographs, I do my best to take good photographs, both so that people can see it and get a good idea of what it's supposed to look like, and then so I can see it.
Oh, okay.
Try to remember how to make that.
Right. That's key. That's really key.
And then usually there's also a pretty strong vision in my mind of what I want it to look like. So that's also even if the photographs are very helpful, but in my mind there's this is always based on something in my mind.
So you say roughly about 2 years is when the business of it started.
The whole thing.
I
started bending. I started using my hands for crafts.
So how far after that did the business aspect, so I can actually sell these?
It started maybe around October. Like I guess I started bending metal in like July, August, and then by I was playing with it and just having fun, and I was posting things on Facebook, and by September, by late August, people were starting to say, well, where can we buy your stuff? And so by September, I started taking seriously the idea, where can people buy my stuff? And starting to work on that. And so by October, I was selling a lot of, a bunch of pieces.
I think for me, it was a blizzard we had here in the city where it was like the month of February. We were all locked in for like the month. And that's how I was introduced to Etsy, because I was at home and you bored. Like we literally were snowed in for weeks. And I remember being in the house like, what am I gonna do? I had just got a new camera for Christmas, and I was like, I wonder let me just take some pictures of stuff that I made. And my friend, we was like going across the internet, and she said, just put it on Etsy. And I just remember Etsy being this huge platform, and actually got a sale within like those first couple days. So
That's
I was
impressive.
pumped.
That's fantastic.
It really boosts your energy and your
What year?
ego a
Do you
little bit.
remember?
I don't know. That was probably like about 7 to 8 years ago when we had that
Would've
big
been a great
blizzard.
time to get on Etsy.
Yeah, but it was a blizzard, so everybody was inside.
Okay. Nice.
So you saw all the hits, but taking those opportunities like that to just push yourself out there. Like for you, it was like something that you thought about doing and you had done before, but how do I take that to business? Like how do I make a business out of that? Was that part hard for you, or was the creativity harder? Like which aspect was harder?
The juncture of the two, figuring out where my creativity meets with the business sense. And I guess figuring out where I pretty much have to stick with my vision. I can't, like I said, my imagination runs wild in some ways if I'm using my kinds of materials, and and then my imagination goes dry if I would try to start with sheet metal and wire like most jewelers do, which is great. I love much of what they do, but my imagination goes blank. And then I just have to figure out where that meets the marketplace.
Okay.
Where's the demand? And I guess who's turned on by my imagination? And I started taking this all more seriously last summer. I was the emerging artist for jewelry at Artscape, and seeing people who it's like their imaginations were turned wild by it, and I hadn't really experienced that firsthand so much. And so that seeing people, I guess, have the same kind of reaction to it that reminds me of my own process. The kind of excitement that drives me really made me take it a lot more seriously. So the challenge is finding the people who, getting my stuff to enough people, and to enough people, some of whom will have that kind of response.
What sparks that creativity? Like, are there things that when you're feeling drained or you're not feeling as creative, what are those things that you do to kind of boost that creativity or get you back on course?
There are so many channels, fortunately. Early on I was doing this stuff while watching like Vikings and Game of Thrones late at night. So those things were probably influencing the aesthetic somewhat. Sometimes I'll look at what other jewelers and artists are doing. Often it's just about play, like sit down and my mind's blank, but I'm going to bend something.
But it's different when it becomes a business. When it becomes business, like, and I gotta get this out,
right.
Opposed to let me just play and let me just be. Right. But do you just keep taking yourself back to that moment, even in those moments where you're not feeling as creative?
That's right. Yes, and I think in my mind, I could be more organized about it, but in my mind, there's always a list, almost a well of ideas I want to try, and those ideas come to me at various times, and so it doesn't so much matter if I'm feeling the inspiration, because because the bank of ideas is there, and when I have time, I'll start.
Cool.
If I could, what I really love about Doug's work is, as he tells you, you really would never know that it's actually a fork or a spoon that he made his work out of. And for a visual artist, it's always to make it the least upfront cost to make the most profit when it comes to business. And I feel like you really master your craft, and I really respect your work. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Mr. Nick, let us know about your process. What's the process that you take in creating your music?
So basically, I usually find the instrumentals first. Like I'll have topics in my head, things that I'm feeling and thinking. But I usually always start with the instrumentals. I'll just be scrolling online, listening to different producers, and if something doesn't pop in my head right away, then I just continue on until I find something that does. And usually what I do is I try to stick with one producer so I have a consistent sound throughout the whole project.
Okay.
They don't all sound the same, but you can tell it's the same person. You know what I mean? And like I said, I find the beat and whatever comes to my mind at first. Usually it's like a melody, and then the words come, and then it just starts flowing from there.
Is it always that process, or does it?
It's usually that same thing every time.
How do you challenge yourself? Like, I don't want this to sound like the last thing.
Well, thankfully, I haven't really had to really challenge myself with that because my projects have been really spread out over time, and I'm always in a different state. I'm always thinking or feeling something different. So they've all, if you go back and listen to my whole catalog, it's every single one is different. And it really kind of came effortless, not to sound cocky or anything, but it's just right now it's just an overflow. So things that you've been wanting to do is just coming out now. My projects are usually like a year or so behind. So I've been writing, and I wrote and got these beats like 2 years ago, and it's just now coming out now. So.
But sometimes artists, especially musicians that do that, their work is like timeless. I'm thinking about Sade. She literally comes out every 10 years. And her work always, like, it always stays, you know it's Sade's music, but it just added on. Like this, I think this last album she did more duets than she's ever done before. So it always, I like artists that gives time and they're not trying to chase.
There are a couple of my favorite artists do that as well, like Frank Ocean. Sam Smith is doing that now. And those are two.
Because people try to create for the award ceremonies, the award season, and it feel like they rushed it. So you see those first 5 songs, then those last 6 be like, oh, let's just get these on there.
Right. To rush or force anything is never good, and if you're creating it for the wrong reasons, that's never good either. You got to create it for yourself, and then people will like it.
So the business side of what you do, how are you with registering your music and making sure contracts are signed and all those aspects?
So far, I haven't really made much, or hardly maybe even any money off of my music per se itself, because it's all been free on SoundCloud and stuff like that. And like I said, all my shows have been charity events. However, this next project I'm going to put on Apple Music, so I'll be getting streaming revenue and things like that. And I made some money off merch at some of the shows I did, like selling shirts. I got $5 shirts made, sold them for 15 or 10.
That's what's up.
So I monetized off that a little bit.
What about the photography side of your artwork?
So basically I first started off doing like free shoots for my friends and promo videos for my friends' business to build a portfolio. And now that I'm established, I kind of name my own price, but I keep it reasonable. I try to beat out like any.
I love the headshot that Chhyna sent me of you, like that. I love that. Did you take that yourself, or
which one was it from?
Actually, I think that was the one I took.
She
so,
took
okay, excuse me.
No, it's cool. He actually does take a lot of our members' work. That's something that me and Nick have been working on this year, clarifying his price to the public and like selling his work. Because honestly, if Nick wasn't such a wonderful soul and donating all this money to charities, he probably could make a pretty decent profit, to be honest. But you know what? It's not about the money for him.
Yeah.
It's about giving back and making something he's passionate about. So that's why I really respect his work.
That's the hardest part, pricing. So all of us in here are artists and we have product or service that we offer. How hard is it for any of you to price your work? Like, this is worth $50 versus, you just need $50 in that moment. So that's what you price.
It's probably different because it probably goes off like how much time goes into it, I would imagine, or like the pricing of the material, things of that nature. But for me, it's more of like, what's the going rate for portrait photography? What's the going rate for a music video? So it goes like that.
Yeah, I think that's the general term for any artist, is looking at your market and what's selling, what's working, what's not selling, what's your competitive rates, can I beat them? And I mean, those are all important aspects of it. Fortunately for a visual artist, we have this wonderful thing called art price calculator, which kind of helps you, give you a little basis. I think it's a little bit harder for a musician because it's kind of like, how much is my work worth? Like, is it just a general CD price? And I think that's why a lot of performers actually go and make merchandise, because then they can kind of make their rates and they can kind of be outside of the box and make more of an income, because it is hard in the music world to sell your craft. So you kind of have to go farther.
Like having merchandise, like doing other services besides just performance. Yeah,
because it's branding. I mean, like, you perform and then it's done. You need something that gives you that aspect forever, like a T-shirt or like a sticker and stuff like that, so people will remember you and keep following your stuff.
Right. So, Douglas, let me know, how hard was it for you, or easy was it for you to put a price on your work?
I'm still working on that. It's helpful to have the sort of a cost plus pricing model for starters, where you figure out here's my materials and here's an hourly labor rate and here's overhead cost for my studio, my workshop, and things like that. But then you can easily miss the true value of the pieces. And I started off thinking, I can price my things cheap. But I quickly learned. I quickly learned, one, that's not a way to build a sustainable business, and two, I don't want to compete with others on price. I don't want to push the price down for other artists' work or for my own work. And often the price is the cost, what people pay, and whether that's to pay donations for a concert that's for charity or a piece of jewelry that they buy. The cost is part of the experience. And so you want to hit you want to create the right experience. That kind of depends on who it's for. I'm still playing with that. For some of my pieces, I think I have it down better. For some of my types of pieces, I think I have it down better than others. And I know I'm always hesitant to lower my prices because, I'm thinking of my things at a certain labor rate. And so that means I don't want to, that puts sort of a floor on it. Sometimes I think, maybe I should raise it because then it could sell better to X market. But so I'm still playing with it. But I'm learning as I go.
It's a hard thing.
I think about if I were to try to sell this at Barney's. If I were to try to sell my work to Barney's, New York, I would probably need to raise all my prices I'd probably need to quadruple all my prices.
Right.
And maybe I could do that. Maybe it would be really great. But the people who are buying my work now certainly wouldn't continue to buy it.
I didn't think that part of it would be as hard as, say, like doing paperwork and actually creating. But that's the part that you'll do all the work, you're prepared, and then when it comes time for do a contract or set a price, you like, I always get other people to price my work because it's just like, for me, I just can't. Like, I'm learning how to do so, but for a long time, I was not able to do it. So I'll just put $10 on everything. So all this is $10. And I was so mad at myself because people would look at me like, okay, $10. Like they knew they were getting over or they were getting a deal. But you had to learn how to say, well, I'm going to have to pay this bill some other kind of way. I can't just sell a bunch of my work for that, because then you put your time and your energy and your talents on the line every single time, and then people still want discounts when you're giving them discounts.
I can that's so true. Like, people will often push for lower prices, but I can also remember a year or two ago being at a marketplace, an in-person marketplace, and somebody was looking at a necklace as a gift for somebody and found out it was priced at $20, and she dropped it like it was a piece of hot coal because it was way too cheap. Yeah. It was not what she thought of as an appropriate gift for what she was thinking of. And that was like it was a shock, and and I've of course seen the opposite where people are really interested and fascinated and they drop it because it's too expensive. Also, like I've seen that too.
And I still gift a lot of my I gift some of my work, not a lot of it anymore. But I remember it was my mother that kind of turned that free thing or discount thing around, because my mother buys my work. Like, I can give her something for a holiday or her birthday and she'll be good. But any other time, like, I used to drop stuff off to my sister and my mother just so I could have walking billboards. And they would both send me PayPal money. And I was like, no, you ain't gonna do that. She was like, but I don't want you to have to ever come back home, so I'm going to give you this money. But it made me realize, for anybody else who I don't know, I can't accept anything less than what my mother would give me. And that really showed me how to price stuff, and I'm still learning.
That's a nice rule of thumb.
Right. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here with the Artist Compound Takeover on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. What's sweet, baby?
Hey.
I know the weight is killing you. Suspense is building. All this stuff in the news keeps happening, and I'm not even here to talk about it. But look, on May 17th at 7 p.m., Talk Lately with me, Marnie, is back. We can get into the gossip, all the entertainment news, the politics, everything. It's open to interpretation, but I'm going to put a spin on it with my flair of funny. And it all goes down right here on BeExposedRadio.com, and we on YouTube. So get ready. You should already be ready. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Couple minutes left in the segment. Sure. Change is good. Yes. Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. Right. I was going to a church. I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing? Yeah, it's bad that you even knew that. And that's a soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music, and we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week, and it was change. It was evolution. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they could not begin to accept it. Like, they are used to the traditional hymn.
The Negro spiritual.
Yes. Not only that.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You can listen to the next song.
Oh.
Right now, they're playing it. It's really online was just, especially when you're by yourself doing it. So welcome back. Oh, I guess the song played. Wow, welcome back. That was Going Through It.
Yes, sir.
By Mr. Nick Frampton. I'm horrible with last names. Nick Frampton. Tell us a little bit about just the two songs that we've heard already. Save Me and Going Through It. So what are the themes of them? What are they about?
So the project, they're both from my EP coming out in September called Introvert. So I'm naturally an introverted person. I actually.
Oh, you probably a party animal.
And
the man with pink hair is introverted.
This is actually kind of a new look for me. So I usually struggle with like expressing myself, how I really feel and what I think, and it's, everyone suffers from anxiety and depression to a certain extent. It's just a matter of what extent and how they cope with it. And I recently found comfort in, expressing myself through music, and just like through my image, getting tattoos, things like that. And I'm just trying to be more honest in my music, and I want to affect the listeners the same way that the music that helped me cope with stuff affected me. So
that's a trick that I use. I went to this etiquette class by Cash Hester. She's like a phenomenal guru in the city with manners and such. And she told me I have an issue with starting conversations, like going into a room and like, hey, how you doing? My name is. But I would wear one of my pieces that are normally too big and gaudy, and it sparks conversation. So something about you, just wear something or have something on that will spark a conversation piece, and it's much easier for me to, okay, yeah, we can engage in conversation, but the icebreaker is like, I'll sit in the corner of the room and just watch everybody else. But that has really helped me. So I would wear something bold and just out there just to start the conversation. And that normally gets me a little bit warmer and a little bit,
It's a little less awkward, right?
Yeah, it's a lot less awkward. And I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know where it started. Maybe because I grew up in a family full of women and they just all were like over talking me. Maybe that's what it was. But I never knew how to just engage, like to initiate conversation. And that's so needed when you're an artist and trying to network.
Yeah, for sure. That's the part where I struggle as well. I mean, it's a thing where like you can be outgoing and expressive, but like you may not be really showing what's really on the inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a mask you put on, and that's really what it's about. It's like taking off the mask and showing you who I really am, what I really think about it, instead of like what you see on the outside.
And when you write, that's one of the problems that I have as a writer. Like I mentioned that I do write erotic poetry, and that's easy for me because I don't necessarily relate to it. I make it up. But
that's what she said.
But writing from a personal place is always hard for me because I don't want my feelings judged. And your music, both of the songs that were played, seem very personal. So how do you get beyond that? Well, I guess for me it's a fair judgment. But how do you expose your truth like that without worrying about being judged for it?
Well, so that's really the whole point. Like that was my problem before. I would just make kind of generic stuff, and it wouldn't really be a true reflection of myself. And like I said, I found comfort in it. It's a cathartic thing for me now. So expressing my true thoughts and feelings, it feels good. So I don't even care about the judgment. It's kind of like my way of dealing with that. You know what I mean? I mean, I got pink hair now. Look at me. Like, I care what people think about me. Like, it feels good. I'm really kind of coming into myself and getting comfortable in my own skin. So
was your mind already there, or was it like what you're doing now is matching where you wanted to be, or what you naturally thought you were?
Well, so like I said, I started writing, like came up with this concept and started writing like over a year ago, and it's weird because like over time it became more and more relevant and started making more sense, and like so I really kind of locked in a couple months ago and really recorded it all because I was feeling that more now than I was before. Like it was just coming along, and now it was easy for me because.
So how long did it take you to share that? So you created it, but how long did it take you to share it?
like I said, I broke that barrier down when I first started performing in December. Like that was really huge for me, honestly. So ever since then, it's just been getting easier and easier for me. The more I do it, the more.
What was going through your mind in that December performance?
Oh man, I couldn't even tell you. I was a nervous wreck. I hid behind the DJ booth for a minute before before I was about to go on, and then I was like, all right, I really got to do this. I'm here now. It'd be more embarrassing to not do it than to do it and mess up or something. I didn't really even mess up. I used
to get the burpees. I would have to keep burping, and this would be live on stage, and I'd be like, ugh, and then I forced myself to burp, and after I did it for a while, I'd be good. So then I started learning, well, if I get through that before the show starts, get the burps out, I won't be doing it on stage. And I'm a theater actor, so that's very embarrassing to be talking. And a burp just comes out, but it would come. I'll be fine. Maybe an hour. Once I get call time, I'm good. As soon as they start calling, hour and a half to showtime, oh my God, you start getting those knots. But we're gonna come back because we just saw Mr. Heifetz. I said it right. Yeah, just display his work. So we're gonna come back and talk more about this work and kind of see what the prices are. Get out credit cards. Sweet baby, she got us. So we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Couple minutes left in the segment. Sure. Change is good. Yes. Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. Right. I was going to a church. I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing? Yeah, it's bad that you knew that. And that's a soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music, and we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week, and it was change. It was evolution. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they could not begin to accept it. Like, they are used to the traditional hymn.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I think she's in her 40s.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's in her 40s. She looks good, but I think she's in her 40s. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BigExposedRadio.com. We're here with the Artist Compound, Miss Chhyna May. We got Nick Frampton, musician, photographer, videographer, live performer in the building with us. And then also we have Mr. Douglas Heifetz.
Well said. Perfectly
phonetics
pronounced.
Classes. I always resort back to, I'm like, I don't need phonetics, but then you do need phonetics, because then Heifetz comes in the building and you'll want to demolish his thing. I keep saying it, so it is natural on your tongue. But he has displayed a lot of his work, so if you can just go through and just, the camera's right there, so you can just hold it up and show us some of your work and such.
Sure. So it all started really with just looking at flatware pieces and thinking, and often it goes back to looking at different kinds of flatware, different kinds of antique and vintage metal pieces, cabinet hardware, vintage drawer pulls, and figure out what could this be. So recently I started making hammer textured adjustable copper spiral rings, and a lot of them are from electrical conduit from track lighting. Old track lighting, of looking at and figuring out, first of all, and in this case, also realizing people wanted a few things that I hadn't done yet, where people were wanting some hand adjustable rings, where the sizes could be easily adjustable, which true silverware rings are usually not. Yeah. Fake spoon rings are often hand adjustable. Real spoon rings are usually not, because the metal's too heavy. And so I wanted to make some that were hand adjustable and some lower price points. Mm-hmm. So I started finding, this sort of salvage copper, like the stuff from track lighting, and figuring out how to make it really shiny and give it interesting textures and a nice spiral. Mm-hmm. And people can kind of adjust it to make the width of the spiral how they want. And
so normally the thinner it is, the more adjustable it is.
Well, usually the thinner the metal is, the easier it can be bent.
Okay.
So a ring like this, I probably sell more of rings like this than anything else. This is a whole spoon.
That's my favorite one. Yeah.
It's a small, what's called a demi-tasse spoon, or a half-cup spoon, or a coffee spoon, baby spoon, and you just bend the whole thing into a ring. So you got a whole spoon on your finger.
You heat them up, I assume?
Some things I heat up, some I don't.
Oh my goodness.
Most of my ring like that, I did not heat the spoon. But
these are my favorite.
I can't even tell that's a spoon. That's
it's
thank
beautiful.
You. Thank you so much. And part of what I love about it, and what is that element of surprise, of double take. Oh, this looks like a pretty piece of jewelry or accessory, but then you look closer and there's something surprising. There's something unconventional, and so I want people to feel a sense of boldness and imagination and creativity, and I want them to feel a little bit of an inner MacGyver about their sense of fashion or beauty, or the feminine, or some feminine version of that, or some variation of that.
Especially do your rings, do you hate on the size 10s and up?
I'm sorry.
Your fingers. So the sizing. Normally the jewelry in this caliber, they normally come in the smaller sizes for some reason.
I make them in any size. Okay. And usually I'm sizing to order. Usually somebody places an order, and with the order they tell me what size. So I make it that size.
Because I spent a lot of money on one of those rings, only because I have one of my fingers that I like to wear it on. I'm like 12. I don't tell people that, but size 12.
Wrong with that.
And it's I never could find that style of jewelry because it's not adjustable in my size.
Right. Yeah. So you got to order it. And one of the things I do with all my online orders is if it doesn't fit, I resize it for free.
Okay, that's what's up.
Mm-hmm. So and if I'm selling in person, I try to bring tools so I can adjust the sizes right there on the spot.
Do you like doing your work in front of people, like at the vending events?
Yeah, I love it. It's a blast, but it's also a big time commitment, and I've found that I have to be really careful about where and when, because it's easy to blow a whole weekend and feel like be away from my family, away from other things I wanted to be doing, and maybe it was worthwhile, maybe it wasn't. So I'm trying to very carefully evaluate when I do that.
I love showing people my work, and then it be something that's non-traditional as far as materials, and then you share with people like this was the lining of a lighting system, and then they like that aspect because they know they got something that's really unique. So what are the price points of all of these? And does that come with the $20 bill?
The copper rings, if you pay enough, I give you the $20 bill with money left. You bet.
I feel like you could be like,
you can even have my credit cards.
There we go.
So the copper spiral ring started at about 20. A piece like this is usually about 40.
Okay.
This is about a $500 piece. Sterling silver it's a sterling silver watch band with a vintage Soviet mechanical timepiece.
But you were able to put the fastener on it too.
Yeah. I put in some. The clasp is stainless steel and more links can be added for fine adjustment. I make them when somebody orders one. I make it for their wrist size, but then you can adjust. You can do fine adjustment by removing or adding some little stainless steel links, which you really can't see unless you look closely. You just see the silver fork.
I see it.
You just see the silver. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of like exaggerating? Be like, This is the Queen Elizabeth like silverware, and seeing if you could like sell it for like hundreds of dollars.
Or maybe really try to find something like that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you ever thought about that?
It's an interesting idea, but
or actually getting their silverware and making it into jewelry.
Yeah, so that is interesting. Hey, I'll let it. my mind can't even go there.
Your secret stays here if you do.
But there are things like this is a piece I've never found another one of these forks again. I've seen
awesome.
It's the Watson. I think it's King George pattern made in 1920, 1921. I've seen other silverware they've made in the same pattern, but I've never seen the whole dinner fork again since I bought this.
So maybe
I bought this early on, and but I love it. People love it. I still have the piece, but telling them how unusual the silverware is has not made people buy the piece.
Really?
I know his head.
Now maybe some it might.
Awesome.
Now it's not cheap, So.
Right.
What about this necklace right here?
So this necklace is one of a kind. I've never made another one like it. I could, and it's made out of 9 vintage cocktail forks.
Oh yeah,
9 silver vintage cocktail forks. I've heard people say that looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie.
Yes, it does.
Or,
I was going to say that.
If you look closely, these little links have little hearts and little heart shapes.
All about the detail
in the links.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
And I've loved having it. Sometimes I thought nobody's ever going to buy this, but I've noticed when I exhibit it, sometimes sometimes people go wild over it.
Mm-hmm.
So whether people buy it or not, I'm always kind of happy to have it.
This would be a statement piece, sir.
Yeah,
people would definitely come up and talk to you.
And it took me that piece took me a very long time.
Wow.
So that's something you priced a little more, I guess. What'd you say was that?
I think I originally priced it at like $300.
Okay.
Go to New York and sell it.
I might sell it. I might sell it for less.
Have you thought
I don't know if I'll make more. Who knows?
Have you thought about doing some installation pieces, maybe that vein?
That would be really interesting. I've never thought about that. I've thought about doing community pieces where you have like a bunch of students, whether they're adults or kids or families, and everybody makes a piece of a bigger, like a giant metal lantern or something, or wall piece.
I love those
installation
pieces.
That sounds like a good Artscape project.
Yeah, there you go. Artscape 2018 with Doug. Lost and Foraged.
For me, like I like to see work. I like the aspect of wearable art. That's kind of how my line of jewelry comes to be. That idea of something you can hang on the wall versus something you can wear outside and it be just as impactful in both places. Have you thought about that in terms of building something? BMA is the one in Mount Vernon, right? The BMA Art Museum, was at the Walters, whichever one. They have like
the Walters is in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, Walters Art Gallery. They have a lot of like ancient or relic pieces like that look, especially like that fork that you said is only you couldn't find another one. So they have work like that where it's just gone down and it looks very similar, but for you to be able to replicate that or do like a larger art piece,
that would be exciting, and that would be a good thing to collaborate with another artist.
Mash up.
Yeah, like make a chandelier out of forks or something. That'd be so cool.
Lots of ways to go with that.
So do you see your mind going to that venue where you're doing more furniture pieces versus jewelry? I know I just jumped to my
I see most of my pieces as fairly small, either wearable or tabletop art, or maybe centerpiece. I do some Judaica, so like mezuzah, which Jewish people sometimes put on the doors of their houses.
Same material?
Or or little desktop sculptures. I make little crickets and crabs. Or what else have I been thinking of? I've thought about doing some metal lantern, like tabletop or countertop metal decorative lanterns and things.
But she just said chandelier. That really took.
That would be fun.
Yeah, people drop a lot of money on chandeliers.
I also want to do hair. I also want to start to do hair ornaments, hair accessories, and maybe even I'd love to do some glasses accessories or my own eyeglass frames or something like that. I would love to do bow ties.
Metal bow ties.
Oh
my god, that is so cool.
Some other, I'm really excited about my watches. And I'm excited about doing
especially with
more
the class
setting.
on them.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. So I tend to think small, size-wise, smaller than we're talking about, but it would be very exciting to be part of.
Right. So the necklace, what's that price point or something?
I originally priced it at $300.
Cool.
I'd probably be willing to let it go for a little less. But people find it kind of, it's unusual. This is not very conventional. A lot of my pieces look conventional till you look closely. This is one that doesn't look conventional any way you look at it.
But I like the idea that they were the not the appetizer. What are they called?
Cocktail forks, olive forks, shrimp forks, whatever you call it.
And you never see that, like that aspect of it. You normally see the bigger pieces being done.
This was definitely one that was made by looking at the pieces. Somehow I wound up with 8 or 9 of these. And thinking about, I don't remember how I got them. I think maybe they came free with something else I bought.
Right.
Thinking, what do I do with these? I thought, I bet I could make some kind of wild chain. And that's what happened.
I often buy supplies and let them just sit. Like I try not to not to and then use it, because if you let it sit for a second, something will come to you. Like my kitchen table is jewelry central in my home. I don't know how that happens. I never eat dinner or breakfast there, but only jewelry. But I'll walk past it and I'll see it a couple times, and then like you say, you'll see something out somewhere and you're like, oh, I can do that. And I have these materials already. I love unconventional material pieces. It just makes the best. Like I like walking into a dollar store or to just a non-traditional store and finding supplies with something opposed to
would be so much part of the fun.
Right. Shout out to my new friend down at it's called Scraps down in Federal Hill. It's like the thrift shop for art supplies.
Oh,
like,
you better make a trip then, huh?
Right in Federal Hill. I'll get the information. I just my friend Missy Lane turned me onto it, but it's really like the thrift shop for art supplies, fabric, beading, all this, and you never know what you're gonna find in there. Just like a thrift shop, but it's our thrift shop.
That's
so
awesome.
We have our own space. So since Bedazzle closed down, we have this space. Oh, we have a caller. Hey, caller, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? This is Tamika.
Hey, thank you for calling the Artist Exchange.
No problem. I was listening to the first part of the show and talking about art and balancing and business and things of that nature.
You can put the headsets on so you can hear the caller. Hold on 1 second, Tamika. We're gonna let them hear the question. You can put your headsets on.
No problem.
The caller's on. So can you ask the question again?
Yes, I wanted to ask the question I had was for the people that are in the arts here in Baltimore. A lot of people are aspiring to be, actors and singers and rappers and, stylists and fashion designers, a lot of things of that nature. If you were to point somebody into the right direction of where people like kind of chop it up and hang out to be around those type, like your peers in the arts, where would you say would be some good hangouts to be at?
So any of you can answer. She this is Tamika of the Style Lounge. She'll be premiering her line at Baltimore Fashion Week. Just a little plug for next Saturday, actually. So
thank you.
She tried to sneak on so people don't know who she is, but I shouted out. But her question was, where are some of the places where artists of your genre hang out, or where do you hang out for artist inspiration?
Well, for me with music, it's local shows. Really schedule a local show, watch the performers, chop it up with other attendees in the audience. With photography, Instagram is a great place to connect with other local photographers. Maybe whether it's clicking a hashtag and finding someone and just going out and doing photo adventures, or even coming out to one of the artist compound events. I've met so many people through their organization. It's pretty crazy.
So it definitely, it doesn't necessarily have to be a meetup place, Tamika, is what Nick was saying. It could definitely be social media or other art organizations. Find out who they are and the events that they're giving. Doug?
First of all, congratulations on your upcoming show, on your premiere. That's fantastic. Very, very exciting. So I'm learning about this with you, Tamika, and we're lucky that we have so many possibilities for how to find other artists' work, where to meet others. So much of what happens for me is just online, looking at things, looking at materials, looking at what jewelers are doing, looking at what sculptors are doing. just examining old materials. But then there's also, and I've started to get more into this, getting to meet other artists, getting to meet other makers. And, we have a artist compound here. Chhyna can tell you all about those events. And I'm learning about Be Exposed and Artist Exchange Show. And it seems like another great place for learning what's happening. Last summer, I exhibited at Artscape in Baltimore. And there was just such an abundance of artists and activities. And to find camaraderie and be inspired by others and encouraged by others. Down in DC, I've sometimes hung out at with Art Rave DC, which is an art market, but where they also have fashion shows and other art events happening. They're on today near DuPont Circle. So shout out to Ken Sheff who runs Art Rave DC. And
is that a shop or
it is an out? Well, it's on Saturdays he runs an outdoor marketplace near DuPont Circle, but they do lots of other events too.
Okay.
Some overlap with what Artist Compound is doing, although not obviously DC versus Baltimore, and not the same, but some overlap. Been lucky enough to connect with them too, and just getting out there. And it sounds like you're really starting to do that, and there's so much more around.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Tamika.
Thank you so much for the plug. Here's another plug.
Maybe stopping by the Style Lounge.
Yeah, really soon. And here's another plug. Come by your Vashtar Blue jewelry pieces. Very unique, one-of-a-kind pieces here. $22.61 right down the road to Style Lounge. Thank you so much.
Oh, Tamika, I know there's all kinds of great, theater festivals and one act festivals, and those sound like great.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to look some of that stuff up. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nate. You guys have a great show. I'm tuning in still.
You too. Thank you. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be closing out the show. Unfortunately, it always gets to this point. It has to end at some point. But we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Couple minutes left in the segment. Sure. Change is good. Yes. Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. Right. I was going to a church. I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing? Yeah, it's bad that you even knew that. And that's a soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music. And we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week, and it was change. It was evolution. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they could not begin to accept it. Like, they are used to the traditional hymn.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. It's me, your host, Nate. I got Sweet Baby.
Hello.
A.K.A. Miss Zakiya Ayanna. Our guests today are representing the Artist Compound. First Saturdays of every month here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Meet members of the Artist Compound team. We got Miss Chhyna May, one half of the Pinky and the Brain of it all. And our two guests for the day are Nick Frampton. He's a musician, a videographer, and photographer. And then we have Douglas Heifetz. He's a jewelry designer here in Baltimore as well. And they're both members of the Artist Compound. So real quick, we're going to go around, and if you have any shows coming up, let us know what those are, dates, times, any events, websites, social media, how we can contact you and send some checks if possible.
Word.
So we'll start with Mr. Nick.
Okay, cool. Like I said, I'm Nick Frampton. You can find me on all social media at NCKFRMPTN. That's Nick Frampton, no vowels. You can find my music, my photography, my videography, all on there. Currently, I'm working on an EP, finalizing it. It's going to be coming out in September. You heard some of the songs today between the breaks, and I'm going to be doing a release show late September for the EP. I haven't locked down the venue yet, but thinking it's going to be at the Crown or somewhere in Baltimore at the end of September. And that's what I got going on.
That's what's up. Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Heifetz?
Yes. They were perfectly pronounced. Again. So I'm online a lot right now. Lost and Forged is my metalwork company for jewelry and all kinds of accessories. Right now we're running a contest, a giveaway contest.
Ooh,
so
I like giveaways.
if you go to our social media, either to our Facebook page, Lost and Forged page on Facebook, or Lost and Forged on Instagram, look for the contest post. And the idea is you enter first by following on Instagram or liking the page, but then you can enter and you pick a word or a phrase or a name, something that you'd like to that you would have engraved on a piece of jewelry or accessory, and we're going to pick the top 2 entries for either the most, and the entries could be creative, funny, wise, inspiring, silly. So we probably have, 60 entries or so far. So think about, if you want to enter, what would you have engraved on a piece of jewelry? What short phrase or name or something or word would you have engraved on a piece of jewelry or accessory? And we'll give away 2 free rings with the winners.
Come on, Ryder.
Yes, I'm listening. I wrote it down.
And then we also, and then along with that, we have a complimentary engraving special through August 18th. So if you place an order, we'll do complimentary engraving.
So you do engraving
I do
too?
engraving. Yep.
That's cool.
Cursive, block print. We'll do it up to 20, as many as we can fit, or up to 20 characters. And then you can find my online store and my website, lostandforged.com, or Lost and Forged on Etsy. And then in person, thanks to the Artist Compound and thanks to Miss Chhyna May, I will be exhibiting on Wednesday evening, August 16th at Mount Vernon Marketplace at the gallery opening, and again on August 31st at XS at the Expressive gallery opening. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, so y'all doing
XS? So
Yes,
I'm not exhibiting. Oh, and my buddy Ken Sheff is exhibiting my stuff right now in DuPont Circle at Art Rave DC. So I'm not.
Shout out to the friends.
I'm not exhibiting much in person, but the encouragement of some of the folks at this table is helping.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Because you'll get to meet the people one-on-one. It's a different experience.
And when I've done that, like at Art Skip last year, that was amazing and a turning point. So that's good too.
Miss Chhyna May.
You can find us at Artist Compound. That's ARTISTS Compound, COMPOUND, and at www.artistcompound.com. Currently, we have a couple art openings. In August, we have August 16th, which is Sweet Sensations. We have 4 lovely artists and a bunch of vendors. So if you'd like to vend, please hit us up at info@artistcompound.com. And then we also have at Expressive, which is 5 artists, including Douglas as well. And we also have the Point of House on August 18th, which is free at the Point in Fells. So please come and check out our events and have some fun with us.
And last but not least, I'll let Sweet Baby give our final question. We got minus 30 seconds, so if everybody just give us the short version of their answer.
What advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
The advice I would give to my 17-year-old self is to be yourself, stay true to yourself, don't be afraid of your feelings, let those feelings show, act on those feelings, because you're going to miss out on a lot of good things if you don't. So
I like that.
Douglas.
I'll take Nick's advice, first of all. That speaks to me deeply. And I guess I'd add to that, find things you love to do and are passionate. Find people who will help you take those up a notch and who will help you find a market, who will help you, broadly speaking, not just a financial market, but who will help you find people who will appreciate those things, who will help you find a community who will nurture those things. So find activities you love to do and can be passionate about. Find people who will help to nurture you in that.
Chhyna May.
I think
She's
for
asked
me,
this question like 80 times.
I know I have. I try to come up with something different each time. So what I would tell myself is try non-traditional methods of art and ways of selling it, because I think I've stick to the book mostly, and I've found a lot of different things and going outside the box, like doing art auctions and other methods of being an artist. So just try new things and collaborate with other artists.
This has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show, the Artist Compound Takeover. Don't forget Ceasefire. This is the second day of the Ceasefire Baltimore Challenge. We've gone 24 hours plus, no murders, no shootings at all. Let's continue this on, not just until Monday, but beyond that point. So I'll leave with actually two things that you, Chhyna said and Nick said. Go outside the box. Stay true and be true. The Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BigExposedRadio.com. Shout out to Kara and Miss Bryn and Mr. I just the name just went out of my head. Eric. Mr. Eric definitely helping us to keep the show going. We'll be right back next week. Go somewhere.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Zakiya.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to get yourself noticed? Well then, why not sponsor us? There are lots of different options to choose from commercial spots